How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right, so I just wanted to remind you about kind of the rules of this office and how, anything that you tell me will remain between the two of us unless it has something to do with, you wanting to hurt yourself, wanting to hurt someone else, or someone's hurting you. But anything else is going to stay between us, okay?
Okay.
Just wanted to remind you about that.
Okay.
All right, so what brings you in today?
Okay. Well, so I just got into UGA.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you've been working hard for that.
Yeah. So it's a huge relief, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go dogs.
So I got into UGA and I'm planning to start in August. So everything's like going pretty smooth in life and stuff, but recently my mom was just diagnosed with breast cancer, and so it kind of like isn't really easy to make that decision anymore to go, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to, I guess, talk about, I wanted to like kind of hash out what I should do. I just needed help making some decisions.
Okay, so on one hand you're like really excited about having been accepted to UGA, but on the other you said recently found out that your mom has been diagnosed with breast cancer?
Yeah.
Last week, okay. So it's probably still really raw for you.
Yeah, also like, senior projects were like this past week, or this past like couple
Remind
weeks.
me what those are like again?
So like you basically, it's like a year-long kind of like project that you have to prepare an AP Lit.
Okay.
Or that I had to do an AP Lit, and like it was like a year-long process, and if I failed, or basically if you fail senior project, like you might not pass the class, or you might not graduate, so. Yeah, it was just a really stressful time, and I finished mine last week as well.
Okay.
And I think my mom has known about her diagnosis for a little longer than that.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't find out till last week.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you found out last week, which was roughly around the same time that you found out about UGA?
I found out about UGA 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so it's been 2 weeks for UGA and about a week that you found out your mom had breast cancer. But what you're saying is that you think that your mom knew longer than that?
Oh, she did know.
She did know longer than that.
So I basically found out about UGA 2 weeks ago, and I finished my senior project last week, like presentations, and it's been graded, and everything's good with that. So my mom, I think, my mom found out maybe like within the past month, and my dad and my sister knew about it already.
So you were the last one to kind of find out that piece of information, which is huge.
Yeah. So I just feel like overjoyed that I got into UGA and really relieved that senior projects are done. But now like there's this like wave of bad news that kind of puts all of my decisions into jeopardy, like kind of makes me wonder what I should do. So I guess I just wanted like to talk to someone about it, try to figure out what to do.
You've got a lot going on. So I kind of want to talk about your mom's diagnosis and kind of how that makes you feel. So you said you found out after you turned in like your senior project about a week ago.
Yeah.
So what was that conversation like?
Well, we went to dinner after I turned in my senior project. Presentations were that night.
Okay.
So my parents came, and after I presented, we all went out to dinner as a family, kind of just to celebrate senior projects being done and getting into UGA. And then it was a good night. And then it was the next morning. My mom came into my room and was like, "Can we talk?" So.
Did you kind of like immediately know something was up? Or was it just like a normal, like, can we talk?
I think I kind of knew something was going on because my dad has been acting weird the past like couple weeks. So
what does that look like?
My dad acting weird?
Yeah.
Well, so we went to church on Sunday, and my dad is pretty religious. I would say like the rest of our family, but he's not very like vocal or not very expressive about it. And I witnessed my dad kind of get down on his knees at the pews and like pray, and I've never seen him do that. Not to say that he's not like religious, but like he's just not very expressive about it. So when he did that, I like turned to my sister and I was like, check that out. Like, I've never seen this happen before. And she kind of just like stayed quiet. And that's when I kind of clued
So
in.
you
Like,
think that's like she had already known at that point too?
yeah. So I kind of already had my suspicions, but I didn't think much about it because I, just got into college and had a lot of stuff going on.
So bringing it back to like the room when your mom told you she had something to tell you, what did the rest of that conversation look like?
Well, she basically just told me, that she got her mammogram results back, and she told me that they found something, and that when they looked into it a little bit more, that it was like stage 3 or stage 4, like breast cancer. I don't really know that much about it yet, but she told me that she tried to reassure me right away, to tell me like, oh, breast cancer has like a high, like treating breast cancer has a high success rate and everything, but it was already too late and I was already like sobbing, and it was just really, it was a hard conversation to have, but
I can imagine that would be a very hard conversation to have, because that's your mom, and to find out that, one, she's been diagnosed with this disease that is so detrimental sometimes, and then to find out that she's also kind of known for a while.
Yeah.
And been holding that inside.
I think I'm more upset about, I think I understand why my family kept it from me, and I'm not really like mad.
Why do you think they kept it from you?
I think they kept it from me because I've been dealing with senior project.
So to like help relieve stress, you think?
I think they didn't want to stress me out during that, but I knew they wanted to tell me because they literally told me the day after it, and they let me kind of celebrate, it being done that night and stuff. So I'm grateful for that. But when my mom told me the next morning, I felt like a bunch of stuff. Like, obviously felt sad and scared, but I also felt really guilty, I think.
Guilty?
Yeah. My mom and I don't have the best kind of relationship. Having immigrated here when I was only 6, my mom and I were never always on the same wavelength. Like, she's very traditional Filipino, and I was raised in the States, obviously by her and my dad, but the values are different. So we fought a lot as I was growing up, and so it kind of felt like God was punishing me when I found out my mom was sick.
What do you mean God was punishing you?
I guess for always like fighting with my mom.
So kind of what I heard you just tell me is, even though you were raised by your parents, it was in a different country and within a different culture.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have a different, maybe like outlook on how things are.
Yeah.
And so, with that outlook and,
so I guess it kind of just feels like my mom is very traditional in the sense that she believes that, kind of like a woman's purpose is to just be a good mom one day, to be a good wife one day, and she doesn't agree with the things I wear and the things and she doesn't like how outspoken I am. She doesn't think it's like right for a girl to be.
So that's where some of the, disagreements come into play. You said it's not right for a girl to be.
I don't think she likes how I'm outspoken and like I express my opinion too much, and she thinks, I don't know, it kind of just feels like as a woman I have to be like submissive to my parents, which probably means submissive to my husband one day, and that I can't just like have an opinion. So obviously that didn't sit well with me growing up, so we fought a lot.
So what do those arguments maybe look like? So I know you said outspoken and maybe different opinions, but what are those opinions? Can you tell me a little bit about where you're coming from?
I guess like about things that happen like in pop culture or whatever, or like I had a friend of mine that recently she's a little older than I am, but she just graduated from high school and she just had a baby, and my mom didn't want me to hang out with her anymore because she thought she'd be a bad influence, and I was very vocal about like just like my thoughts about how my mom shouldn't judge, and stuff. But obviously, I'm her kid, so I can't like tell her how to feel. And I'm also a girl, so it's not like, she's like taken aback every time I like speak up about something. Like I'm not supposed to have an opinion.
I kind of sensed a little bit of like anger when you said that. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that feels like?
I think I just don't like being silenced. My parents are very different. My dad is, I guess, like a little bit more like me, and he's a little more American, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And it's been hard having one parent that's, I guess, like more American, and one parent that's like more traditional Filipino.
Okay.
So I get confused often how to respond to my parents.
So you feel like you have to be one way with your mom, but you get to be maybe a little bit more relaxed with your dad because you guys see a little bit more eye to eye on certain things. Okay.
So when me and my mom fight, it's very like, it gets kind of nasty, I guess you could say. And then we both say things we don't mean. And so, but now she's sick, so it just feels like I wish I could take it all back.
So maybe some of those things that you've said in the past in anger, even in the middle of an argument or like a heated debate, now feels hurtful because she's not just mom anymore, she's mom who is sick with breast cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's been hard.
I can imagine that would be. Tell me a little bit more about how you felt in that moment, because I know you said guilty and obviously like sad, but I know you were feeling like a mix of emotions because obviously like you were talking about UGA and finishing up your senior year and having just finished your senior projects and being hit with something as heavy as mom having breast cancer.
I think part of me was a little angry, and it makes me feel bad to kind of admit it, but just like knowing that like not everything was going right for me. Sorry, that's my phone.
They're okay.
I should have silenced it.
No, you're fine.
But so basically I've just been feeling really like hurt with all that's been going on, and
you want to grab it for her?
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. Oh, it's the iPad.
Yeah, I'm
it's
so
okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
That was just my sister. I just texted her and told her.
We're not in the middle of a test, so it's fine.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So you were talking about kind of like feeling angry with the whole situation.
Yeah, so I was just mad because like I've been having a lot of good things happen to me.
Yeah.
With getting into school, and
was UGA your number one choice?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. And then, having senior projects done, and like it's senior year, so like, just like having prom around the corner, and all of these like fun things, planning for graduation, and then suddenly it feels like being hit with that news was kind of like, oh, you won't be able to do all of these things. And it's not because I'm not allowed to, but because my conscience won't let me, if that makes sense. Like,
I think I understand what you're saying. So you said you're feeling anger mainly because all of these good things in your life have been happening, but now this one big kind of negative thing has happened. And correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe that's gonna prevent you from doing certain things, or maybe make those events not as happy as they would have been had this not happened?
A little bit, yeah. I didn't really think much about the second one, but I definitely do feel that now that you've mentioned it, knowing that that news is kind of like a damper to like the rest of the year. But it feels so wrong to say that.
It's okay.
On top of that, also like I have all of these good things in my life that are happening, but I know that I will only be like focused on like what's going on at home now that my mom's sick and stuff. Not that they wouldn't tell me that I can't be happy and go do all these things, but I just know that like, it's just the fact that something went wrong.
Yeah.
And that it has to be my mom.
So where do you think that anger comes from? Like, do you think it's anger with breast cancer, anger with the fact that it happened, anger with a person?
I think angry with myself.
Yourself.
Actually, because I feel like if I had a better relationship with my mom, then the feelings of guilt wouldn't be as strong. Yeah, and so in turn, the feelings of all of these things, all of these good things that are happening are gonna be like null and void because I have to repay her for the way that I've been, if that makes sense.
Okay. So you feel that this sense or this need to repay her because of differences that you've had in the past and maybe things that you've said?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely more like things that I've said.
Okay. So kind of where I wanna go from here is, I know kind of at the beginning of this session you mentioned, some kind of decision.
Mm-hmm.
You said, I wanna know what kind of decision to make. Can we talk a little bit more about what that is? Cause I don't necessarily understand what you mean by decision.
Okay, so well, from where I come from, a lot of the decisions that we make are based on what's going on with the family.
Mm-hmm.
And my decision to go to college would be dependent on everything that's happening in my family.
Okay.
And my family, like, they're not selfish. They wouldn't tell me not to go, to stay back and take care of my mom. But I think the part of me that is collectivistic, the part of me that is like, still adhering to those native traditional values makes me feel like I have to stay back.
Okay.
To help take care of my mom. Not help take care of her in the sense that like, I don't think my dad and my sister can, but just like having that weight on my conscience of like knowing my mom's sick and I'm not doing anything makes me feel guilty about wanting to go to UGA and stuff.
So what I'm hearing you say is you don't think your family would necessarily like hold you back,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe your conscience is like holding you back, and your values from your culture saying, family is important and that family structure is important, and knowing that a member of your family is going through something traumatic makes you want to be a part of that process.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think my family would hold me back because they value education, and my dad's a doctor, so like, I know that they would want me to, I know my dad can take care of my mom, first of all, and second of all, I know that they would want me to go to school and stuff, but I think that somewhere, maybe in the back of my mom's head,
Should we check it? Is it still rolling?
It's okay, we can do the thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
it
like,
Is it rolling again?
if you move the thing and it like has a timer still going, we're good. Okay, sorry.
It's fine, it's fine. What was I saying?
So I'll summarize for you.
Okay.
So kind of where we're at right now is you're not necessarily worried about like the competency of your dad and your sister being caretakers for your mom, but more so just the want to be there with her.
Yeah.
And kind of referencing back to what we talked about earlier was also kind of maybe that guilty feeling of you maybe thinking, not that necessarily this is true, but just you thinking the arguments lead you to maybe not being like the best daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so with those thoughts going forward, you feel very like guilty about leaving, even though you think it's okay to. There's still that like guilt of those past arguments holding you back.
Yeah, that and like I said, my mom wouldn't tell me no, you can't go, but I think she would just say that, but then maybe feel, I'm scared that she would feel like she's leaving me and all of this stuff. So I don't know, I feel like I just want to do the right thing, but I know that it might not make me like the happiest, if that makes sense. Like, I'd be happy to take care of my mom, but I know that, like, it would also bother me a lot knowing that I, like, didn't go to the school that I wanted to go to. And
So you think like the right thing would be staying home and being a caretaker and just maybe being a support person for her?
I think it would be, but I think that the whole me not going to UGA thing would significantly decrease my happiness because it would just be a reminder that I was this close to getting it. I'm a first gen student. Like my dad's a doctor, but he got his medical license back home, so I would be the first in my family to attend university in the U.S.
Gotcha.
So I know that it's important for my parents too, but I don't know. It's just like it makes it harder for me to say yes.
So you mentioned that, you know, you yourself would not be happy if you didn't go to school, right? So you would feel as though UGA is, you know, this close to my grasp and I wasn't able to take it because I feel the need to stay home and care for my mom. But let me ask you a question. What do you think your mom would say if she knew that's how you were feeling?
I think she'd tell me to go, actually, but I think some part of me is scared that she would still feel like I left her. But I don't know, maybe I'm just like overthinking it, but I know for sure that she'd tell me to go.
So you think surface level she'd tell you to go, but maybe something inside of her still wants you to stay? I would be sad that you left, maybe?
I don't wanna, I think that's what would happen, but I know there's a part of me that's very aware that I may be like making it up in my head.
Making what up?
Making the whole, my mom's gonna feel like I abandoned her thing up.
Okay.
But I think what I just like really, what would just make me feel better is if I got that affirmation from my mom, but I feel like I don't wanna ask her if I can still go to school or how she would feel, cause I feel like she has so many other things on her plate with just getting diagnosed and stuff, so. Now I'm kinda just like, I feel like I'm kinda just like floating in like the middle.
Yeah.
I'm like in that weird limbo between graduation and like going to school and stuff and like.
All those amazing things and then also that my mom has breast cancer weighing on you. So what do you think that conversation would look like if you had it with your mom? I know you said that you feel like you already know what she would say, you know, which is to go. Do you think having that conversation would be helpful or not helpful?
I am not sure if I'm ready to have it, cause I don't have like all my feelings all together. But I think it would be helpful for both of us to just tell each other how we feel. Cause more than anything, I kinda just want her blessing, but I also don't wanna ask her because it seems kinda foolish to ask.
Foolish, how so?
Foolish as in like, I feel like she thinks that I should already know what I'm gonna do, but I'm very confused, if that makes sense.
Okay, like confused about what you wanna do?
Confused about whether or not I'm gonna go ahead and go to school.
Okay, but you think she is under the assumption that you should already know that you're going to school?
I think she is under the assumption that I have my mind made up about something.
Okay.
I don't know if she thinks it's school or if it's staying home, but I don't think she knows that I'm struggling with so much anxiety and so much uncertainty about the decision I have to make.
Okay, so you said even though you know maybe how that conversation would go, you're still not ready to have it yet, because you still want to kind of like get a firm grasp on your feelings and make sure you kind of have yourself together before you get ready for that conversation.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet.
Okay, we can keep exploring like your feelings here in this space to try to find a place where you will be okay to have that conversation with your mom. Because I know these are things that are going to happen, you know. Life keeps moving even though we don't want it to sometimes. This might be a good time for you to want to put a big pause on life so you can have time to process. And we can create that time in here for the time being and help you kind of work on some skills and some, processing tools to help you come to terms with a conversation you can have with your mom.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So how are you feeling about what we talked about?
I think I feel validated, and I think that's just what I wanted, just to say it to somebody and them not make me feel bad. So, thank you.
You're welcome. So kind of just to recap again one more time to make sure we're on the same page. UGA, huge, congratulations again. But it's kind of in this time where you also found out that your mom has breast cancer, and that has been making you feel a lot of different things: sadness, anger, and some guilt because of maybe a rocky relationship that you've had with your mom in the past. And that can kind of be attributed to maybe cultural differences, even though you're kind of from the same culture. You're definitely from two different countries in a sense. And getting to a place where maybe we receive your mom's blessing, so it's okay, it's okay inside that going to school is what you want. Okay?
Okay.
Alrighty?
Alrighty.
Well, I will talk to you next week about it, okay?